Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting day of Center Overwatch action. Today we've got our gold team facing off against Georgia Tech White. Center played their other team of Georgia Tech just a couple of weeks ago in these two seasons. Center is currently, I believe, 2-3 overall in the season, and Georgia Tech White here is 3-2. So we're looking for a potentially pretty even matchup here between these two teams. They're kind of looking to tie up the records here. We may have some other casters joining us in just a bit, but for right now, you're stuck with just me. Center is on the right side here in the red. Running a composition based around this Junker Queen. Who's James on the Tracer. Blakeu on the Sojourn, Tooney on the Lucio, and Carp on the Moira. Facing off against a very similar comp, but instead with a little bit more poking capability with this Ramatra comp. So both kind of rush compositions, but Center's a little bit more all in. All in they go as Carp takes the first pick of the match. Galvanijo does fall, but picks are still relatively even here. Point starting to get capped by the Moira from the side of Georgia Tech. Center getting onto that same position with them to contest. They're putting a lot of pressure onto this Lucio. Not sure if that's going to convert into a pick or not. Like the whole team is now back here for Georgia Tech. Same can be said for Center as Galvanijo's back in the fight, swinging his hammer. Or axe, or whatever it is. These are going to be both supports from Center out of the fight, but still doing pretty well in this. And that's going to be Center cleaning up. No supports here, but that's okay because they have cap point. Center did pop an ult here. That was the Coalescence from Carp. Coalescence is going to be available very soon here for Georgia Tech. James being sneaky in the back line. Looking for a bit of an assassination here. Galvanijo awfully hurt here. Facing off against this Moira Coalescence is going to need a lot of help to stay alive here. Currently using some natural cover, but unfortunately Carp is going to fall in that fight. 32% is what Center has on the point right now as it flops over to Georgia Tech White. All ults except for Carp's will be online relatively soon here. But not quite yet. So a little bit of farming Center's going to have to do here. First ult available is going to be Blakeu with the overclock. Going to be tricky with all this pressure, though, coming in from the Annihilation from Georgia Tech. And that's going to be Galvanijo falling. And his 2 ultimates committed in that fight from Georgia Tech. Center may be looking to just get out alive here and recontest again pretty quickly, knowing that they're going to have the ultimate advantage. All right, they're getting all grouped up. Let's see what gets popped first. That's going to be Sojourn ult from Blakeu. Not quite getting anything, but certainly doing a little bit of pressure. Ooh, Center gets a bit split up here, and they are not winning this fight. I'm going to have to back out once again. Getting a little close to capping point, but it's not going to happen. It seems like that was the only ult committed from Center was Blakeu's overclock, so might still be able to do the same thing here. Galvanijo is going to need to live, though. That's very, very important. And get around this corner and stay alive. Looks like it's not going to happen. Great aggression here from Georgia Tech. Very, very little time left on the clock. Might need Who's James to blink forward and try and get this touch on point. Trigger overtime. Carp going in aggressively. This is going to be a great pick from Blakeu. They're popping ults left and right. Thankfully, they are conserving Galvanijo's ult for the next fight. It'll be very important as they are just looking to clean this up here. Point flips over to Center. Only about 40% right now. There is going to have to win at least 2 good, clean fights. Maybe more. Coalescence coming in from Georgia Tech. Galvanijo going to go ahead, take the low ground here. Does pop his ult. Not sure if it finds a whole lot. Center doesn't make something happen with this. It's going to be over for them. Great pick from Who's James, but not sure if it's going to be enough. It's really just Toonie alive, trying to use these rollouts to get the point as fast as possible. Gets booped away just at the very last second there, and that's going to be this first sub-map here of the Antarctic Peninsula going to Georgia Tech. Still a pretty close one, but it was just those very cleanly and quickly won fights from Georgia Tech that allowed them to get so much percentage earlier on.
So, here's the plan. Do what I do, listen to what I say, and don't screw this up.
Croissant, 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 croissant. 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective. One more mistake.
Alrighty, sticking with this same composition here from both teams. Unfortunately, Carp falling very, very early in the fight. Center is going to have to back up immediately. Well before the point unlocks, so not too much progress gained for Georgia Tech here. Point is captured in Georgia Tech's favor. Kind of rotating around the left side. Blakeu might be able to pop this. Doesn't get anything. There's backline under siege here. Ramatra and a Tracer kind of digging into them. It's going to be center falling in this fight as well. Just Galvanijo on point, but not getting much for it. And Carp swapping over to a Baptiste. Galvanijo swapping over to a Ramatra. Isn't quite mirroring the opponent, but it is in terms of the tank lineup. They're living through that pulse bomb. They do use their lamp from Baptiste, though. Pretty impactful ability there. Are falling early once again. They just have it out for him here at Georgia Tech, knowing that the supports are the most impactful people to try to pick off early. Winner may only have one more opportunity here as the ticks up to 80%. Potentially looking to go, you know, kind of wide around this left side. Not sure. Here's James pops his ultimate. He's going to get a pick onto the Soldier 76. James is here, safe on point. Or dueling with the Moira, maybe not so safe. And the rest of the team dies. Well, that happens. It's 99%. There is absolutely no way for Center to get back in this. And that's going to be map number 1, Antarctic Peninsula, going to Georgia Tech White. Center getting picked very early in a lot of those fights. They're shutting it down before Center really has a chance to get started in a lot of these fights. We play the game going to the Ramatra from Georgia Tech. See you in just a moment as we head to an escort map next. Map number 2 is going to be Rialto. This is Center's pick for a map. Center once again is on the right side here in the red. Not quite reflecting what is said on the scoreboard of positions, but that is because they are going to be starting this on the attack rather than the defense. We'll see that here as Galvanijo is currently looking at playing Doomfist and Who's James on the Widowmaker. Being on the attack, they have these opportunities to swap very quickly off of these heroes if they aren't working or if they aren't actually wanting to go them or not. So unsure if these will be the actual picks or not. Very likely that these will be the actual picks here for Georgia Tech. And they are playing very close up, potentially looking to stall some extra time by just stuffing them in the spawn doors. I mean, they are right up here. We'll see how that goes. Center likely not aware of this being the case here. It's a very scrappy fight happening right outside the spawn doors. Galvanijo getting hurt. Carp investing the plant to go ahead and keep him up here. Picks out. Reaper burning down a little bit, but it's going to be Tooney falling first. Both supports from Center College falling here. This is a very aggressive play here for Georgia Tech, but it has paid off so far. Who's James swapping over to a Bastion? Gonna try to burn someone very quickly here. All starting to come out. That's going to be the coalescence from Georgia Tech. Now, thankfully, Center has such a close, spawn time here. So even though that fight didn't necessarily go their way, the Ramatra is going to take a very long time to get back. Galvanijo able to pick up a kill onto the Reaper. Who's James currently still sticking on this Bastion. Are popping ultimate, but Center not necessarily in a great position to follow up on it. Trying to play into that ulting Ramatra. Just 2 alive here for Center on the cart. It's Tooney and Galvanijo. They're making a little bit of progress though. Hoping to pick up these 2 supports from Georgia Tech before other people come back, and they do start coming back. It's going to be the Ramatra and the Tracer back into this fight. James turning around the corner, trying to get a kill with this extra turret damage. Great freeze from Blakeu. Does a lot to help Center win this fight. Moira still alive. She doesn't have fade. Center going to try to finish her off, but she is not, bobbing and weaving in that back room. It seems like she's still left alive, but Center wants to go ahead and take this point here, so turning their attention away, but maybe they shouldn't have, as the Moira starts to pop this coalescence, and they're doing it in the back line, which is a great position to do it. Still working on taking her out. They do eventually get that Moira, but Carp is going to fall in the process to the Tracer. Seems like it's just the Baby Diva left alive. Enemy Center taking that first checkpoint here on Rialto. interesting plays there with the Tracer. Toonie with a great pick onto his counterpart. This is the team taking this higher up position here. We're seeing a diva here from Georgia Tech. Diva popping ultimate. Will get Who's James, not a very mobile hero. Carp with a pick onto their support. And center is still in this fight. Carp popping ultimate as well. You get some extra damage and healing through there. 3 picks for center. They are going to keep pushing this cart. There will be a recontest here before they get to this next checkpoint. Hopefully looking for an early pick onto this diva. Could be very, very huge if that happens. The Blizzard comes out, doesn't get eaten by the diva defense matrix, which is huge. Toonie popping beat here to make sure center is able to secure this fight. Tricky situation though, as Who's James does fall. Galvanijo also investing his ultimate into this fight, but almost everyone from center is not alive in this fight. Really not a lot left. Just Blakeu and Galvanijo. Who's James starting to come back too, but they believe this is still doable. Let's see if it happens. The Kitsune rush here for Georgia Tech. And having to back out from that just a little bit, playing around the shield that Galvanijo put in place. Center is fully backed out here. Dueling with the Tracer in the back line. Another Diva Bomb already available. Toonie just barely peeking out from the corner. Is going to pick up an Elin onto him. All of center falling in this fight. We'll see if there are any major adjustments made. They're only, 2.4 meters away from this point. But they only have 8 seconds to do it. Toonie not going to get there in time. Not sure if anyone else from center is anywhere even close to it. This looks like this is where their push is going to end. It's certainly still doable for Center College, but they are going to need a pretty impressive hold as they swap over the defense here on Rialto. Thankfully, there's a lot of room to stall for time before this first checkpoint. This being a really great sort of choke point, as well as kind of playing around this corner here. And center could even do what Georgia Tech did, playing all the way up close here in the front spawn doors. See Galvanijo on the Orisa. Still that same sort of Ramatra brawl with a Soldier 76 here for Georgia Tech. That seems to be very much their kind of preferred comp here. We were seeing a Junkrat for a second, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to stay in the lineup or not. Blakeu on the May, Who's James on the Sojourn, Toonie on the Lucio, and Carp on the Baptiste. Galvanijo possibly looking for a cheeky spear kill. Trying to get someone into the water. Doesn't quite get it, but Blakeu does. Blakeu gets a great pick with this icicle onto this Tracer. Excellent stuff for center here in this first fight. Backing up to reposition. Galvanijo looking like he's going to go for another one of these cheeky little spear plays. They are aware that he is there, though. And that Soldier 76 is keeping an eye on him. well as the shield from the Ramatra. Yeah, they were definitely watching for that spear. Starting to round the corner here. No ults yet available for either team. Fortunately, Blakeu does fall first. There's a flanking Zenyatta. Ooh, that fight is definitely going in favor of Georgia Tech here. Center still should have time to kind of play around this second checkpoint. But Blakeu going to need to play careful here. Nijo putting his shield up. Shield gets burned down. There's a meter and 30, or 1.3 meters left, rather. Center is going to go ahead and contest on here. Who's James on the Sojourn with a great opening pick. Also playing from high ground, able to disrupt some of the positioning. Should be able to secure this pick onto the Ramatra here. The lamp makes it a bit difficult, but Galvanijo is starting to throw that volley of punches here. Scary position, but also getting popped from both teams. Getting into a really messy fight here. Blakeu with a great flick with that icicle. Center is winning this fight. It's going to begin the slow descent, backwards. No ults available for Center College. Should be 2 coming up in this next fight for Georgia Tech. Center just wanting to stall as much time as they can here. There is a Soldier 76 above Center College, causing some issues. Yeah, picks coming out into Center College, opting not to use any ultimates here. That's going to be Georgia Tech getting the second checkpoint. 3 minutes and about 15 seconds for them to get to this kind of golden rectangle here that is right before the second checkpoint. So it doesn't need to make it quite to the second checkpoint. Great wall from Blakeu. Could enable a pick onto the Baptiste and potentially on the Zenyatta as well. That's excellent. Dooney does fall, but could be Center's fight to win here. Ramatra in a tricky position, though, for Center College, and he is opting to go ahead and use that ultimate. No supports here for Georgia Tech. But that is going to be them winning the fight.
Dipped up shape.
Blakeu getting picked off. It's a very tricky position to be. This is potentially last fight territory here. Who's James with a great pick? Keeping things even. Galvanijo needing to put some pressure onto this ulting Soldier. Dooney falls here. It could be devastating for Center. Blakeu gonna invest the freeze here. Who's James with his ult as well. It's a great pick, but it's really just Who's James alive. Gets picked off. That is going to be Georgia Tech winning map number 2 as well. Play of the game here is going to go to Blakeu on the Mei. So much damage coming out with this freeze, enabling Center to be able to get this first checkpoint. Well, this is match point here for Georgia Tech. Only needs one more map to win. See in just a moment as this map gets determined. Should be a flashpoint map. All right, folks. Map number 3 is Suravasa. This is a favorite of Center College Gold. We're going to see if the blessings of Suravasa can help Center turn this around. Currently staring a 0-2 record in this against Georgia Tech White. Map favored by these speedy, scrappy, brawl type compositions. And that is what we're going to see from Center here. Galvanijo on the Junker Queen. Who's James on the Tracer, Blakeu on the Sojourn, Tooney on the Lucio, and Karp on the Moira. Being a similar lineup here that we've been seeing so far from Georgia Tech, with the exception of the Symmetra. Maybe just looking to get to point a little faster. Likely we'll see that as a swap to Tracer immediately after. They're speeding to point. Well, it looks like they might actually be staying on the Symmetra. Never mind. I lied. It's the Tracer. They are going to get in this just a little bit faster. Galvanijo already rotating onto point. Kind of a tricky spot to hold. Not as much natural cover as you would hope for. But Center is the one on point. This will be Georgia Tech's fight to aggress on. Fortunately, Tooney getting picked off from the Ramatra. They're not out of this fight quite yet. Who's James gets a pick, but it's just the DPS aligned. Who's James is going to have to look to back up here. Center is regrouped, ready to go in for this next fight. We're looking to cut off the Soldier 76. Now playing up 5-4 in this fight. Here's James putting some pressure on the supports. Blakey with a pick onto the other support. Great pick taking out the Moira. It's just the Ramatra left. Once they take out this Tracer, that should be Center capping the point. Now at 0% for Center against 75% for Georgia Tech. Have some ultimates available for both teams here. Definitely going to be looking to invest those in this fight. This James, as always, looking to make something happen in the backline. Start popping the Coalescence. Ramatra is putting a lot of pressure onto Karp. Center is super split up in this fight. Not what you want to see necessarily from this type of composition that benefits from stacking together, focusing down targets. It's just Blakeu left on site. He's going to have to get out or die. And he should be able to get to the point in time to trigger overtime, but might not be able to do much more beyond that. Galvanijo investing his ult here, able to get a great pick onto the Soldier with the skill orb from Moira. Focusing on the Ramatra right now, boops him off the site. They're going to go ahead and cap the site. Actually gets a little bit of a stagger onto the Ramatra. 76%. This will be the last fight here on this first flashpoint. There is a Soldier ult available for Georgia Tech. This James might have Pulse Bomb in time, but not necessarily the most impactful ultimate. Overtime is triggered. Center needs to get back onto the site and touch. As it does swap over. Great pick onto the Ramatra. It looks like that first flashpoint is going to go to Center College. great turnaround there.
Next flashpoint, temple.
Coalescence and Pulse Bomb available. We move over to the second one. Center is going to be on the point a lot faster. Going around in this room on the right here. Blakeu with a position up on the high ground. We get a pretty decent off angle. Unfortunately, that's Pulse Bomb invested onto Tooney. Pulse Bomb of our own. Picks are being traded, but being down a very pivotal support like Tooney is going to make this tricky for Center to win. Hart falls, James falls, Galvanija falls. And while it all goes down, the point does get by Georgia Tech. They're currently sitting at 25%. Clock available for Blakeu. Ninja will have his ult available as well. Unfortunately, that is Blakeu and Carp dying in this. Hoping for this great pick onto a Moira, potentially even onto the tank and this Lucio as well. They're not out of the fight yet, but it's a tricky spot for Center to be in. Center opting not to go to site, knowing there's no chance for them to really have a touch here. Moving back up as the flashpoint gets tied up here, 1-1. Like Georgia Tech is going to get to site just a hair faster, but Center is going to be able to take this kind of advantageous positioning up on the high ground. Pulse Bomb once again falling onto Tooney. That is very, very unfortunate. They're dropping down and looking to fight this. Blakeu investing ult, but with no supports here for Center College. This looks like it might not be doable. Galvanija falling as well. There's James left alive. Delaying the point from getting captured for just a moment here. That is going to be it. Starting pick up in percentage for Georgia Tech.
You want that louder?
Center should have beat Pulse Bomb going in this fight. Hopefully a Coalescence soon as well. Ramatra ultimate comes out. Beat invested to counter it. Both Coalescence is out now. All the while, Center is not taking up a position on the actual point itself. Start coming out. Blakeu with two really great ones. We need to clean up a couple things here. Make sure they're not playing too split. That is going to be it. Swapping over to Center, but 89% was able to be achieved from Georgia Tech here. All they would have to do is really win one fight and it would be going their way. Galvanija very close to his ultimate. Very, very impactful one to be able to deny healing. High ground position being taken by Georgia Tech here. Center playing around this fountain. Blakeu with a great pick. Able to take this off angle here and take down the Tracer. Amigo investing his ultimate, getting awfully hurt, kind of alone in a room with them. Hopefully the anti-heal that was, done by him will be enough for Center to clean up the rest of the fight. Not sure if that is going to be the case or not. Who's James slowly whittling down this this Reaper. Does eventually get it with the Pulse Bomb, but a tricky spot. The rest of his teammates have fallen here. Who's James does need to stay alive potentially because he needs to get this last second touch, or maybe Galvanijo is going to trigger it and swap over to the Doomfist. Blaiku investing ultimate. Clock comes out, takes a little too forward in, and does get punished for it. Galvanijo with an empowered punch, but only 11 health. Harp now with an ult. Hoping to take out the Junker Queen here. Doesn't quite happen though. And he might be back in time to be able to beat, or not. Not gonna happen. That's gonna be 2-1 favor Georgia Tech White.
The Junker Queen stands with you.
Crank up the game.
Really valiant effort there. Some of those last fights. Coalescence getting invested early from Georgia Tech. Looks like center is going to be able to avoid that safely, and I speak too soon. Tooney falling to the skill orb. Tooney will get back pretty quickly, just by the nature of the character he plays. Georgia Tech still taking this kind of forward position against Center College here. Not playing on the point itself. Ooh, that's going to be an ult used onto Center's backline. Any investing beat should keep him alive for a little bit. But the second beat comes out. They're still needing to live here. The point ticks up. Going to get halfway. Center is going to win this fight, which is very exciting. But again, 50% on the point. Or they're even having the opportunity to flip it over. James looking to scare out this this enemy tracer.
Let's get some healing beats going.
They're taking a similar forward position to what Georgia Tech was taking just a second ago. Galvanijo popping ult, comboing with Who's James. His DPS lineup is getting awfully hurt, but hopefully the rest of the fight is able to be won here. It's a great pick on the enemy tank. See Georgia Tech taking a position a little bit wider to get to point, not going down the main way. And I speak too soon as they sort of bait that and then start moving the other way. Blaiku close to an ultimate. Might be looking to invest it here. Nijo with a great pick onto the Reaper. Port's looking low for Georgia Tech. Blaiku does invest that ultimate. Needs to get a little bit healed up, but gets a great pick onto the Lucio. This flashpoint is now tied 2-2. Whoever wins this next one is going to win the map. For Center, it could be the start of a great reverse sweep. But for Georgia Tech, this is match point. Just needs one more flashpoint to take the entire series. James taking this low ground position. Oh, that is just devastating. A Pulse Bomb takes out 2 Center College's members. In one fell swoop. That's going to be Center losing this fight very, very quickly. Losing a fight quickly can be a good thing in this type of scenario where the point hasn't been captured yet. Center wants to be able to regroup and get into it pretty quickly. There's no real point to stalling out. Center maybe looking to go around this left side here. Nijo taking space, walking onto point. Carp is investing ultimate. baits out the Junker Queen ult. Junker Queen ult could cause some serious problems. You know, Moira Coalescence isn't going to get as much value when there's an anti-heal on the table. And the Death Blossom comes out for Georgia Tech, and it takes out 3. Pulse Bomb here, used from Who's James, is gonna stop that Death Blossom, but not quite soon enough, as it does just rip through Center College. Center has ults going into this next fight, but this next fight is also the last fight. Point getting to 86%. Center doesn't win this here. They're just not winning it. Carp with a great opening pick. Great pick onto the Moira as well. Picks up to 99%, so we are now in overtime territory. This fight is definitely looking to go Center College's way. Can't lose the sight for really even a moment here. They're going to need to get all the way from 0 to 100. We're going to see a swap over to a Genji. So no more Reaper here. Galvanijo has ult. Could be very impactful. Tooney has beat. Allows Center to sustain through perhaps a offensive ult on the enemy team. Pulse Bomb comes out, doesn't find anyone. They're taking out the enemy tank. That's huge. Who's James with a pick onto the Moira. Lucio's still alive, well as the Tracer. Blakeu does fall to a skill orb, but that is a pretty favorable fight for Center College. We're going to see these last touch, you know, come out for Georgia Tech here. The swap over to the Wrecking Ball. With a pick onto the Genji. Looks like that might be enough to clear the site here. The Wrecking Ball does get another touch onto the site. He is awfully hurt. Blakeu popping ult. People away from this site. Great pick onto the Lucio. The Moira doing some devastating damage, but Tooney with the beat there just in the nick of time to keep everyone from Center alive, sustaining through that. And that's going to be the last fight on a Center, meaning they win map number 3. Overall score here, Center 1, Georgia Tech 2. Play of the game is going to go to Heracross. That's the Tracer from Georgia Tech. And that's that double Pulse Bomb kill. Really incredible for Center to be able to come back from such an opening play like that. All right, we will see you in just a sec as we head to what I believe is a hybrid map. All right, right back into it. This map number 4. I lied about it being hybrid. It's not hybrid. It's push. This map type can be kind of similar in the game plan here. We might see something pretty similar here in terms of the compositions we saw on Flashpoint. Center still the team on the right side here. That is what we're going to see. Galvanijo on the Junker Queen. Who's James on the Tracer. Blakeu on the Sojourn. Tooney on the Lucio. And Carp on the Moira. And something a little funkier here as we cycle through a few DPS heroes for Georgia Tech here. See if the Echo and the Symmetra stay. Likely that the Symmetra is just going to swap over to a Tracer once again as soon as that TP gets put up. Just a strategy to get teammates to the fight just a little bit faster. I think they are going to keep this Echo. See if Blakeu and Who's James are going to be able to put some of their attention up into the skies. Tech rotating around Center College. They're popping their shout, rushing on in. Able to collapse on them and get these picks. First round of this push here. Maybe Center with possession of the robot. Alnijo taking space. Pushed up a little bit. Who's James? A great pick onto the enemy Tracer. Causing a little bit of devastation here in the backline. Hoping for a pick onto this Echo. And it does happen. Who's James absolutely on fire. Able to use the recall. Get back safe. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not totally safe. But the job's already been done. And Center is making great progress on the bot all throughout this. Tooney does fall. A little bit unfortunate. It might mean that they have time to get here before the checkpoint, but no, they don't. That's going to be Center making it to the first checkpoint. It secures Center a earlier spawn position on the map. No, they don't have it right now, which is unfortunate. Forward spawn position does get lost as it goes past the halfway point. Arc popping ultimate keeps on his team alive, but hard to sustain through something as powerful as the Ramatra Annihilation. James still here in the fight, but not necessarily denying any of the robot's push. Just hoping to stay alive here, or maybe going for that assassination onto the Lucio. That could be huge as Center looks to re-engage here.
They tossed the robot. Get it back. Robot is on the move.
Knowing they are down there, Lucio, seems like Georgia Tech is just not going to fight this. Backing up pretty far. They're back with possession of the robot. Play around this bridge here. Blakey with a great pick onto the enemy Echo. Who's James with about 2 health. 5 to be more precise. Kitsune rush out. Alnijo popping his ult. Blakey popping his as well.
Cybernetics regulating.
A lot of ults invested in that fight from both sides. None available for Center College here. It's just going to be the Echo copy available for Georgia Tech. Center back with their past the checkpoint, so they have forward spawn once again. They're making progress on the robot. We're going to see a Wrecking Ball come out. Wrecking Ball, who was in a pretty bad spot in the meta, in the previous couple of seasons. It's actually pretty good right now. Pretty decent right now. He's got his niche is no longer just getting to the point. And that's pretty huge for ball players around the world. And they're losing forward spawn again.
Your end is within my reach.
Shoot the grit out of you, knickers, and move! They're moving the barricade. Stop it!
Ooh, Galvanijo gets stuck with the pulse bomb, does get a pick onto the Wrecking Ball. Not a favorable trade to lose 2. Now 3. The robot progress is going to continue. We'll see if Tooney can get out of this alive. It does not. Georgia Tech inching towards this first checkpoint, likely going to take that over. Center should have touch before they get all the way to the point of getting the lead. Up with an ult. Probably going to be what's invested here. Great picks so far with another one onto the Echo.
Receive my aid. Back in control.
The center back in control of the robot. No more forward spawn for Georgia Tech.
They took the robot. Let's fix that.
You get popped in this interesting high ground position. See the Kitsune Rush come out as well. Beat invested from Tooney. Beat invested from Georgia Tech. Amanito does get a great pick here. It's still a pretty scrappy fight, and health bars are low for Center College. Incredible play here. Galvanito getting a lot of the enemy team purpled. He's going to get some great picks, and Carp is going to be there for the follow-up.
What is it now?
Hopefully going to be able to get that robot back in this position where it is actually pushing forward here. At the very least, securing forward spawn. Here it is. Back pushing a little block here. Getting that wrecking ball about half. Hopefully going to be able to secure a pick onto this Kiriko. Or she's able to TP away. Carp investing Coalescence here. Wants to get as much value as possible and does.
Misery made manifest. Unassailable prowess.
Lucio perhaps pushing up a little too far. Does make it out alive thanks to that Suzu from the Kiriko. It's being invested here for Georgia Tech. Almost getting a pick onto that wrecking ball, but not quite. Galvanito just playing for time here, stalling out as long as he can. Mooney as well. Both will fall. But they can get back pretty quickly here. Center's still with a fairly sizable lead, but in these push-type maps, still anyone's game at any point. Is Georgia Tech with possession right now. The Wrecking Ball ultimate invested. There's James in a pretty hairy spot. Both a support and a tracer onto him. Hard to win 2v1. Abanijo finding himself in that same hallway. We're going to get forward spawn. And they are pushing the robot here. Don't think they had to invest any ultimates to win those fights. Georgia Tech still going to have a lot up their sleeve for this next fight. Center potentially going to have all 5 ultimates at their disposal once they charge a little bit more. Very, very unfortunate Tooney getting taken out early.
Pick it up. We're about to lose our lead.
Center has the tools to win and prevent Georgia Tech from getting the lead, but not when they're getting picked off. Lots of ultimates invested from both sides. Great pick from Blakeu. That is just what Center College needs here. Doesn't secure all that many picks. Really more that Georgia Tech is opting to run away, knowing that this is potentially last fight territory. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. Armanijo with a great pick onto the Lucio. Hoping to lock up this Tracer or this Wrecking Ball. Now onto the Kiriko. That's definitely looking like it's going to be Center's point here. But with these mines in the way, Center can't quite clear these last couple of picks that they need. The overtime touch is still here for Georgia Tech. Overtime goes down. It's going to be center taking map number 2. We are now tied in this series. 2-2. Center versus Georgia Tech white. Play the game is going to go to Galvanijo on the Junker Queen. Played absolutely incredibly on this push map. Knifing and then using this ultimate that gets purple on so many of the heroes for Georgia Tech. And then the follow-up here from Carp, able to go ahead and win that team fight. Folks, we will be heading to our final map in just a moment here. It'll be a hybrid map. Unless the hybrid map ties. Then we have to play another control one. That doesn't happen very often, but it could. All right, folks. Map number 4. This is Blizzard World, a hybrid map. Center, once again, is going to be on the attack, which means they are the red team, listed up on the right-hand corner. Apologies that the scoreboard does not reflect this left-right positioning. In terms of comp here, I don't believe that center is actually going to play this. I think they're lying to us. So I'm not going to look at their comp. I'm going to go look over here. Georgia Tech. Playing this kind of more long-range, more pokey type composition. But Tracer just so good right now that it's, even with this kind of long-range comp, you still want that Tracer pick. Running a Sigma. This kind of poke damage from the soldier here. It looks like they're going to be running kind of a brawly comp for the most part. Potentially Who's James and Tooney looking to do some funky opening shots on the Widow. They don't quite pay off, which is very unfortunate, but that is all right. Only just a couple seconds wasted for a potentially really cool clip. Sigma falling down here. That's going to enable center to get a great early pick. Harp is going to need to stay alive here, though. Help his teammates sustain through this. Another great pick onto the Tracer. Toonie does fall, so Carp even more needing to stay alive here as the only support is going to happen. Center collapses, gets the rest of the picks, and that's a very early first point capture here. It's going to give them 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go ahead and complete this escort portion. We're going to see a swap here. Doomfist is the tank. No longer a Sigma or Georgia Tech White.
That feels much better.
A lot of pressure falling onto Blakeu. Harp thankfully there in time. Ooh, unfortunately, Blakeu does fall. That is going to be the Zenyatta. Harp getting killed out of his ultimate. He's named in Galvanijo. Making some picks happen. Toonie as well. It looked to be a pretty hopeless lost fight. It just gets turned around.
I wanted a scar.
Toonie gets stuck with the pulse bomb. Going to be one support here for center. Galvanijo getting taken out. Going to back up here, it seems. Blakeu is going to be able to get out of this or not. He is not, unfortunately. There still was plenty of time in the bank, though. Thanks to a really impressive first point capture. Tons of ultimates available for both teams here. We should see a pretty ult-heavy fight. They're looking to rotate up to the high ground here. They're going to be met by the Doomfist. Are they going to turn around and collapse on him? They're just going to ignore him. Sean, try to take out some of the squishier members. Great ultimate from Galvanijo could potentially deny the value of that coalescence. Center's actually looking to play this fight right onto the cart. So it is going to get pushed forwards if none of these members from the blue team here are here to stall it out. We're just going to need to take out this Tracer. A new threat emerges, though. That's the Soldier 76 who is popping his tactical visor. Doesn't get a whole lot of value out of it. That's going to be Center taking this first checkpoint of the escort portion of the map. James pushed up pretty deep, able to recall out. Hoping to get a kind of early pick onto that Kiriko.
Much better.
Harp getting picked by Kunai from the Kiriko. Galvanijo able to punish that Tracer that overextended just a little bit, looking to clean up a kill onto Galvanijo, but really invested quite a lot into that. Lost their life over it. That's going to be Carp pushing him pretty aggressive with the Coalescence. Going to take out a support. Nearly gets the pick onto Lucio, forces beat out. Center is playing very forward here, taking up a lot of space. Means Georgia Tech is not anywhere near the cart as it continues to slowly move along here towards what would be the end of the map. Ninja with a great pick onto the Spacer, sorry. Blakeu popping ultimate here. Kiriko ult is out for Georgia Tech. They're not going to get a whole lot of value of it if no one can stand in its kind of area of effect here. It keeps the Lucio alive. He's going to let him stall for a little bit longer. Blakeu's still looking for the pick onto him. He's super duper hurt. Ball comes out. Favorite for these last-ditch efforts. Lucio is still alive, still causing some mayhem. Does a lot of damage with this recent buffs to the projectile size. Are starting to come out for center here. Importantly, denying all that healing on the Wrecking Ball. That final blast from the shotgun is going to take him out. Shark building up a Coalescence once again. It's going to be center completing their push. 2 minutes left in the time bank. A pretty blazing speed for Center College. Again, in no small part thanks to that great first point capture that, you know, really only one fight occurred.
Initiating match.
Slowed down just a little bit on the streets phase. But Center was able to push through that. Again, for a very, very blazing speed. 2 minutes left in the time bank. Center now on the defense. See if their composition gets adjusted at all. They're sticking with this Junker Queen comp. Be a little bit more interesting of a choice on the defense. Same Junker Queen comp for Georgia Tech here. The exception of a Reaper instead of a Sojourn. Both teams looking for these big, high damage collapses onto one another.
Hello there.
Shame to see no silly little Widowmaker Lifeweaver things coming out. Oh, we're actually going to see a bit of a swap here. No Tracer for Georgia Tech.
I need you, Gracie.
Like, team is going to go to this right side of point. Now running up through main. Center opting to play essentially on the point itself. Amnejo having to pop his scout there a bit early to try to sustain a little longer. Doesn't end up keeping him alive. Blakeu gets a pick before getting taken out. Uni might be able to touch point again, actually with Galvanijo, but also potentially not. Who's James with touch? You're running right onto point here, but might just be becoming an alt battery at this point. And it does look like this fight might be in the bag. Has not found any picks yet. But importantly, they're stalling a little bit of the time. The blazing speed of Center's push, that really is the goal here. Now a similar 5 minutes available for Georgia Tech. Great first point capture for them as well.
To me, Gracie.
James looking to grasp potentially with a pulse bomb. But it's going to be Georgia Tech taking the initiative here in the fight, popping that Coalescence early, cleaning Center up. They're needing to go a little bit faster in these fights. We will have touch here. Easily. Blakeu popping alt. They're needing to live from this Reaper ult. So much damage. Blakeu taking the position in the back line. Carp with the position in the front line. Both of them dishing out a lot of damage. Fortunately, that is going to be Carp falling here. Just the Junker Queen left alive. Maybe a Moira somewhere in the distance. Not totally sure. No, she is gone. Lucio is back here for Georgia Tech. Now just the Lucio on point. This is great here for Center College to be winning these very, very pivotal fight right before the end of the checkpoint, and to be sort of staggering the opponent a bit. That's 0 ultimates for Georgia Tech. Will have the May ultimate very, very soon. Center with beat and rampage. The freeze does come out. It's going to take out Galvanijo. Great pick onto Junker Queen. Harp definitely needs to stay alive here. Not sure if that's going to be possible. He does! Punches the Reaper right in the face, gets hit with an icicle, unfortunately, straight into his skull. Not where you want an icicle. Blake, you're just in the nick of time. No healers or anywhere to be seen is going to be able to take out this May. And center stabilizing once again, right before the point gets to the checkpoint. Right before the cart gets to the checkpoint, rather. Blakey will have ultimate soon. Hart potentially can charge his pretty quickly. Won't have it as soon as the Moira from Georgia Tech. That is likely the win condition that Georgia Tech is looking to play around. Bringing support alts online quickly. It's not going to help with Who's James falling early. That Coalescence is online for Georgia Tech. Blakey investing his. Georgia Tech being very conservative with their ultimates, knowing they don't actually need to invest anything to win this. And that puts Center in a pretty hairy spot going into this next fight. Center is only going to have Coalescence. We are staring down 4, maybe even 5 ultimates available for Georgia Tech. You're going to have a little under 3 minutes to finish their push. Going in. Coalescence. Coalescence here to match it from Georgia Tech. Queen ult comes in. Is Center going to be able to get out of this alive? Galvanijo falling, but taking out the enemy tank as well. Bit of a trade. And that's a pretty good thing to see if you're Center College here. They're not able to get those couple of extra picks, but are winning the fight here. I've had the opportunity to charge those ults back up. This is looking like they've stabilized, and it's a much more even infield here. Who's James with a great pulse bomb. Galvanijo finishing the kill onto the Junker Queen. Center doing just absolutely incredible here. Now at this point, with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, even if Georgia Tech is able to complete their push, Center will end with a more favorable time bank. And that is a big if. They're looking so dominant in this fight here. Blakey with a great early pick. Galvanijo putting the knife onto the Reaper, waiting for his ultimate animation to finish up, and then pulling him in. Kind of funny to watch that very important patience there. It's going to be Tooney falling here. Center should be able to back out, at least the rest of them. Are popping Coalescence here. Beat and freeze invested from Georgia Tech. Blakey investing his ultimate as well is going to be able to get a pick with it. Very important to get a pick onto a support like that Lucio. Center stabilizing in the fight once again. Even gonna pull this queen back into the fray. Get another pick. Really, really great stuff here. We're seeing some last minute swaps. We're gonna see an Ana. Not really sure what that's supposed to enable. And even a Junkrat here. This is a last ditch effort. Only ult that might be available for Georgia Tech here is going to be that Junker Queen ult, and she still needs to build it up. Center can get an opening pick, which they do against this Ana. This could be absolutely great news. If Center pops even any of their ults here, I mean, this could be game over for Georgia Tech here. 2 seconds left. The Lucio almost has touch, but doesn't. But that's going to be Center College winning it. In a Game 5 scenario, incredible stuff here. Taking it just on that final map. That is a 3-2 victory for Center College. Play of the game goes to Galvanijo on the Junker Queen. Been doing some incredible stuff all 3 of the last maps that Center won in this great reverse sweep win. Where thanks to Galvanijo on this Junker Queen. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. This was a pretty great win for the program here tonight. An incredible series. GG's to Georgia Tech White. All 5 of those matches were close and really thrilled to watch. So I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much for tuning in.